Hey there, I'm Jackie Ferris. This week on the 302, we are at the Dover Art League to find out what's new and check out a new exhibit called Six. It's so beautiful, you're just gonna love it. Get ready, the 302 is headed your way. Hey everybody, we are at the Dover Art League to talk a little bit about an exhibit and all of the wonderful art that they have here. I'm joined now by Chelsea Memolo to tell us all about it. Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
So let's talk a little bit about, you always have an eclectic, beautiful combination of artists, and the one I want to jump right into is Joan Judge. I mean, her work is amazing.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. She first came into the gallery. She was in the exhibit we had in the window. It was a display of the National League of American Pen Women. So it was a group show of female artists. And that's where I first saw her work. I was honestly really blown away.
Yeah.
She also sold a piece from the window, which was really great. And then she let me keep some for the gallery. And she's since added some. So I really enjoy having more of her work here. She has watercolors primarily.
They're just so beautiful. And when you look at them, I mean, the colors are vibrant. Would you say that's like a twilight with sun coming up, going down? Something's happening there.
Almost all the pieces she brought are waterscapes. She is an artist down at the beach. So she obviously takes a lot of inspiration from Lewis. She has like a few lighthouses.
Yeah.
But a lot of her waterscapes are very emotional and like moody, and there's a lot going on.
You know, you have a lot of things here that when you walk up to them and you look at them, they elicit some kind of reaction. And the one on the wall over here, there are two of them, right?
Yeah.
It's just a little disturbing.
Yeah, so that's by one of our newer artists. His name is Kerry White. I love his work because it's so intense. I feel like art needs to give you a reaction, even if it's uncomfortable. And it's abstract, so I like that even more, that it's giving us this type of intense emotional reaction. There's a lot of tension in them.
Absolutely. The first one, you know, there is that tension. The second one, though, you kind of feel like, you know, there was some kind of trauma, like in the history of this piece, but it's kind of like healed, and you can see where the cooler, more comforting colors are coming through. So they're like day and night, these two pieces.
Yeah, and actually he does have a third piece in the back, and it is completely blue, and there's no like scars in it or like the amount of texture in the other two. It's a lot softer.
Really?
And it might be the third piece in the series where it's completely healed over.
It would be interesting to talk to him about his process and what he's thinking and what he's trying to say. You know, I mean, it's really amazing just the talent that you have hanging on these walls. Specifically, let's talk about the photographs, the two pairs and the broken dish. I mean, on the outset, you might think, well, you know, it's just two pairs, but the way they're placed and the coloring, really nice.
Yeah, and her framing also always makes a big difference too in the presentation of her pieces. I believe she has a history of product photography, which you can see come into these, like in her personal work, the way that they're set up so perfect. Like every little detail is considered, and the lighting is so great too. As a photographer, I really like her work as well. The lighting in some of the darker ones, like the black and whites, like a lot moodier and blends in with the background.
Yeah.
So I really like the depth in those too.
So talk to us about just the variety. I mean, where do you get your artists from? And, you know, just tell us about them.
They're all local.
Yeah.
Most of them are Kent County or from Dover. They become members of the Art League and they can show their work. We feel very strongly about having a variety of work here so that people get to see a lot of different things. They might feel like represented when they see things, like they feel like they're in a space that's accepting of different styles. Like we have stickers and earrings that are really cute and appeal to a lot of people, but we also have, you know, the watercolor, like fine art paintings and things like that. So
if you're decorating your home and you want something that's not only unique and original, I mean, this is the perfect place to come because there's something for everyone. I really love the wave, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I really do. But you have an exhibit upstairs, and then you have some classes that we're going to talk about, and we're going to do that when we return.
I'm Alexandra Deutsch, Director of Collections at Winterthur, and I love the arts on the 302.
Welcome back. We have come upstairs to check out a new exhibit called The Six,
or
just Six. Just Six. Well, this is Michael Fleischman. He is one of the six and kind of like the curator for this,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So why six?
Well, I got an individual an artist opportunity grant from the Delaware Division of the Arts, and part of my pitch was you have to do a show for them, and originally, okay, it was just going to be me, and then I thought, well, no, there's a guy, actually his name is Mike McSorley, he's in the show, and we actually went to college, and I hadn't seen him for 50 years, and we ended up in Milford.
So it's a bit of a reunion for the two of
Yes,
you.
it was, and I thought, well, me and Mike, the two Mikes. But then, just in thinking, there were so many other artists that I thought, oh, I would love to show with Rosemary. I'd love to show with Hervasio, with Pat. I stopped myself at 6. I had to stop.
I'm sure you could go on and on. So let's
Yes,
talk really quickly about the different works, because this is a really eclectic range of things. So let's talk with Rosemary. I mean, beautiful, beautiful abstracts and a floral. Talk to me about those.
Mixed media kind of stuff, collages. She does beautiful watercolors as well, and that's incorporated in these mixed media pieces. It can be a little bit of everything. It says mixed media, so could be printmaking, some paint. Use oil pastels or chalk pastels, a lot of drawing. So everything comes together in one thing.
So how about Mike, your long lost friend?
Mike's an oil painter.
Okay.
He's totally different than anything I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that was part of the goal. I wanted 6 artists who definitely could show by themselves.
Yeah.
But when together, this would be a dynamite show.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the I guess on the wall here, is that Mike's work?
That's
the 2020, the rope, and it looks like a flag. You have to look at it. I didn't get it at first.
Right.
But I mean, it really captures 2020 for a lot of people.
Oh, very much so. He's not all that, I mean, if you look at his stuff, he had a show down at the Roeville Art League.
Yeah.
And it was called The Everyday.
Yeah.
And Mike glorifies just the everyday object that you could
He
find
does it well.
in your
That
kitchen.
kettle is cool. I like that a lot. It reminds me of an apple, like an electric apple. So talk to me about Pat. Pat, what is Pat's work like?
Well, Pat, I originally asked Pat, I said, I hope you'll do some of this quilling, which is rolled paper, and you'll see that.
So
but
cool.
I also knew that she is a wonderful watercolorist.
I mean, it's amazing when you look at, there's the cat, and then there's the puppy. I mean, it really is interesting how she's able to curl that paper, the colored paper too, and just kind of like, you can really see the personality.
Yes,
The cat, is happy, the puppy is a little silly.
Right.
And she's able, it's amazing, it's paper that she's able to do that.
I was thrilled that I'd asked her to do the quilling, to bring the quilling in. But I was thrilled to see the other pieces as well.
So we got Rosemary, Pat, Mike, and then there's
Hervasio Ruiz Jr.,
Yeah, let's talk
who's
about
a photographer.
the doors, amazing.
Oh, incredible. he has really kind of a painterly look to the photographs.
Yeah.
You may not think that they're photographs when you see them initially.
And the framing of the doors is interesting
Mm-hmm.
because typically the frames are on the outside of the thing, but this is like on the, do you know why he chose to do that? Just such an interesting choice.
I do not, to be
You
honest.
should ask him.
Yes.
Because that would be a dinner party question for
Yeah,
anybody
and
who
it
knows
has
the
that
piece.
kind of like abstract quality to it, like a
does.
Mondrian.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
You can tell that he really gets a sense of space
Mm-hmm.
and uses light to his advantage. But let's talk about you. You are so eclectic in what you do. I mean, you're not just one thing. You know, we talked about you at the Rehoboth Art League. You won one of their prizes.
Yes, I was honorably mentioned.
There you go. Well, there was a bunch of them, so that's quite an accomplishment. But talk to me about, you know, your process and what you do. You deal a lot with cardboard, right?
Yes, I do. But before we get into that, my mother always told me you can't go any place without a gift. So here's a duck for you.
Oh, I get a duck.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And what a segue, right?
Absolutely.
So here is, I should say that all this stuff goes down at the same time that the cardboard is going down.
Yeah.
In the studio, it's really more of a one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
So this is a different thought process than maybe doing the cardboard, but it makes you think in another way, which just complements everything else that you're doing. So the ducks, why the ducks? Why a duck? They're silly,
Yeah.
but they could also let you think about something else that shouldn't be so silly.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the toy soldiers. It's kind of an innocent representation of something
On the
that's
cross.
really not so innocent.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Just about. Yeah. I mean, you can see. Like, I think it's not knowing what you were intending, that it's a piece that speaks to the sacrifice.
right, exactly.
Yeah, the soldier. I wanted to ask you
Yeah.
about, and we talked about it off camera, but I wanted to ask you about Timex. That's, to me, that one is like stands out. It's really amazing. Tell me a little bit about that and the piece above it. I mean, what were you thinking whenever, yeah.
Well, Timex, it's actually a Jersey Mike milkshake lid, bottle caps, lids, that kind of things, tubing, and an old watch that I had that fit right in there. I was kind of going for like a time machine, kind of a portable time machine.
Yeah. Well, you really accomplished it. It's very eclectic, and we really have
Thank you.
enjoyed the whole
Thanks.
show and everything. And of course, if people want to check it out, doverartleague.com. Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure chatting with
It was a
you,
treat.
and I'm sure we'll see you in the future.
All right, thanks again.
We'll be right back.
I'm Sarah Ganter with the Rehoboth Art League. Come explore art and history with the 302.
Hey everyone, we have moved upstairs into where there's a gallery and there's a creative space. And we're going to start here with Chelsea to talk a little bit about, you know, how you can come and get creative with the Dover Art League. So tell me, Chelsea, what do we have in store for us whenever we come for a visit?
We offer a lot of different kinds of classes. We put them out every season. So we have a fall catalog, winter, spring, summer. And most of the classes happen in this room.
Okay.
So we have drawing, you know, project-based kids classes where they do a little bit of everything. You can see there's paint all over the floor and the
Sure.
tables, and this is where we can get messy with everything. We also have a stained glass studio back here,
Nice.
which is a really popular class too. Pretty much everything happens up here except for the wheel throwing is downstairs
Okay.
for pottery. But yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about those classes. You said stained glass is so popular. Tell me about that class. And is it a volunteer teacher or?
Oh no, we pay all our teachers.
Okay.
And they're usually just working artists. They don't have to have teaching experience necessarily, or even like an art degree. When people ask me, I tell them my qualifications are, do you know what you're talking about? And are you like nice? You know, are you
Okay.
friendly? Like,
Be nice being number one.
yeah.
Yes.
Can you work with
Yes.
people? And
Yeah.
do you know enough about the medium you're teaching? Other than that, you know, that's good. That's all we really need.
So the stained glass, I mean, can you put, is it like a little window you put together, or what can you create in this class?
It's usually like a sun catcher kind of thing.
Okay.
Sometimes they do framing, they solder, they cut the glass. I mean, they're starting from sheets of glass
Yeah.
that they're cutting into patterns.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit dangerous, but it's fun.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful in the end. You see the creations and you look at it and you go, I did that. And it's just that wonderful, you know, ability to come someplace and put your creativity into something. You mentioned the paint on the floor. A lot of people would love to know how to paint.
Yeah.
And tell me about the painting class.
Well, there's a lot of different
Yeah.
kinds. For adults, we usually have like something specific, like we have watercolor for beginners. We have an intro to oil painting this fall that sold out like in a week.
Wow.
People were really looking for that one.
Yeah.
I think it's not as accessible of a medium for like the general public, so it's a good little intro class for that. The paint on the floor is probably from all the kids that have classes up here.
Yeah.
We held a lot of summer camps this year, and we do a lot of kids classes. Some are specific in, they're just learning like acrylic painting and how to blend and all that kind of stuff. And we also have a lot of kids classes where they do a little bit of like clay, they do 3D stuff, paper,
Yeah.
you know, lots of different kinds of projects.
I can imagine that the vibe in here is just amazing whenever you got all those little kids in here, so excited about what they're creating and everything. So when you look at putting stuff together for the fall and for the winter, I know you bring in your teachers and everything, but how do you decide what to focus on? There's so much that you can share in terms of art.
Yeah, so obviously learning from what's worked and what hasn't in the past. This fall and winter, we tried to focus on like the basics. You have to have drawing, you have to have some painting, pottery. We're finally bringing back a kids pottery class for winter.
Nice.
Finding a teacher was a little bit difficult, but
Yeah.
that's a favorite. Everybody wants to learn
Yeah.
pottery, so I'm really happy to have that back. So photography, we have a beginner photography class that comes back very often too.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to include some really like low key, you know, very beginner friendly adult workshops. Like we have a meditative mandala rock painting class. It's like
Wow.
chill and just,
Seriously.
yeah, like just some things like that. A watercolor bookmark workshop, printmaking. I'm really excited about that one. I signed up for that one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because it's a dry print printmaking class.
Okay, and what does that mean? I mean,
Well,
dry print.
I don't know, and I will find out when I take the class.
There you go.
I don't
We'll have to check back in with her, and she will tell us. Because I know that's like an amazing medium, you know. And you typically, what is it, blocks?
Yeah,
And
and
then-
I think it's like reduction. So you're
Okay.
like taken away from to create
That's really
and
cool.
etching and stuff. Yeah.
And it's really cool that the classes here are so awesome that you take them yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a harder one to like be in the class too because I have my own feelings about putting pressure on myself. So I'm
Everybody
excited to go
does.
into like just the workshop setting. So you don't have to fully commit to something. You're just
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
a little bit and see how you like it.
So you're starting with the basics, but where do you find your teachers at? Are they people that show here and you say, hey, we think it'd be great if you taught what you do to other people? Is that how you do it?
I have, yes. There
Yeah.
are plenty of our artists downstairs, our teachers for our classes. Sometimes I like their vibe. I think they're good with people. And I just ask them if they're interested.
Yeah.
If I see it on their resume. I've also reached out to people, you know, like cold call basically.
Yeah. Hey, will you come teach a class?
Like finding them online. But we also have an application on our website that's always open
Yeah.
for people to pitch their class. It's a class proposal, so they
Cool.
can just pick from one that we like want to offer, or they can pitch whatever they want.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if the folks at home, they want to get in on one of your classes, they want to see what you have to offer, where do they go?
Our website would have a link to everything.
Mm-hmm.
We put our own catalog out. We have print, so there's some here in the Art League, or online. You can sign up online. We also put a number of classes in the Kent County Parks and Recreation catalog that goes to everybody in Kent County. So you can look for them in both places, but everything would be linked on our website
And
too.
the website address is?
thedoverartleague.com.
Fantastic. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, and we'll be right back. Don't you just love all these eclectic creations? Well, if you visit the Dover Art League, make sure you snap a picture and share it with us on Facebook. Now, here are some other cool things you might want to check out. For more information on any of the events or the exhibits at the Dover Art League, visit doverartleague.com. That'll do it for this week's episode of The 302. Make sure you follow us on Facebook for some behind-the-scenes content you're just not going to get anywhere else. We're going to leave you now with a beauty shot of Rehoboth Beach and all of its glory. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. Tell them you saw it on The 302.